times I'll see these things come out there for a TCO around cloud, and they say, well, the server's this much, the on-prem one's this much, this is where we're comparing it. Well, what about the person that walks up in the aisles? What about the person that does the backups? What about the person that actually runs the network cables? What about the security guy outside the door? Like, all that stuff is included. So, and again, when I think of the TCO thing, it's just, it doesn't mean just some little apples to apples. It's like, you got to look at the whole big picture and the whole big picture to make sure it's practical. The first thought is you got to get it right. And how many models I've seen out there, they're just, I'll be rough and say wrong, but they're wrong. Like, you're not including everything. You know, just what's the cost of this studio we're in right now? Is it $100 or is it $1,000? Well, it might cost $1,000 to rent it, but it comes with all the equipment, but the cheaper one might not come with anything. And there's a lot of things like that that people just don't take into consideration. And it can go on and on and on. So I majored in math in college, and we did a lot of math modeling. And it's kind of like a backwards way people look at it sometimes. It's like, let's do a TCO, what do you want the end result to be? And we kind of joked about that in college. It's like, well, you can make the model any way you want to get the end result, the way you want it to look in your favor. Well, that's not a true math model then. And so if you're doing the same thing with cloud and you're not looking at it the right way, you're not going to get good results, and you're not going to make a well-informed decision. So you really have to put a lot of thought into it. And that's like always what I think, like when I look at somebody's TCO or what they've put together, and it's like, wait a minute, you're missing a lot of stuff, or you over-exaggerate this, or you're not looking what's going to happen here. So. A lot of times I'll see a TCO and it's like, well, where's your electrical cost? Like, oh, we didn't think of that. Or where's the real estate cost? Oh, we didn't think of that. Or where is that cost of that person to run the backups? Or the fact that, you know, some things HA is included in it. Well, you didn't even realize that you would have had to pay for 2 servers on your own there. So all these things are things that I want to make sure that people, when they do start looking at TCO, they do include in the conversation. There's going to be people that are going to look at certainly at the finances, but there's going to be technical architecture things to talk about too, because if you're a company that's been around for a while, you probably have some applications that are not exactly new and they've not been designed with modern software design in mind. And it's not going to be cheap to move them. But when you look at the long-term benefits, like let's say your on-prem cost is, I don't know, let's make something up, let's say it's $5 million a year, and then it's going to cost you $10 million to convert this to a new cloud architecture over a few years. You might flip out at first, but then you realize that, well, actually it was $5 million on-prem, and now it's only going to be, you know, $350,000 to run in the cloud. So there's the technical architecture, the technical validity to make sure you can do it, and then there's the people that are actually going to be willing to make that big investment, because a lot of times it isn't going to be cheap to do it right away. But then the benefits down the road are going to be far greater than that little pain point you had early on moving it over. A great story is somebody that was using, they were in the medical field, and they were generating barcodes for some medical equipment. And they had it on-prem, and they looked at going to the cloud. And once they went to the cloud, and they actually put, you know, the real thought into it, did some re-architecture, built a cloud-friendly design, their cloud cost was like 98% off. It wasn't 98% of, it was 98% off of what they were paying on-prem. So they were paying for all these servers to sit around idle and do nothing all day long. And then once they converted it to the cloud, and they took advantage of the technology the way it's really designed to be taken advantage of, that's what they did really, really well. So you got the person that just looked at it on the surface and it was like, well, this may not make sense, and ended up costing more, and somebody that really put some thought into it, and they had a huge reduction in cost. You can't be afraid to go all in with true cloud native architecture, because if not, you're going to get beat. Because the newer companies are building themselves out that way, and if you stick with the old monolithic, just throw a server on there, throw the application on there, and the server just sits around and waits to get hit for processing, it's going to cost you a fortune, and you're going to get beat. I mean, you're not seeing 10% off, 20% off when people go to cloud. You're seeing 50, 60, 70 when it's done right. And if you're not doing that, somebody else is, you're going to be in trouble, and you just have to get on board that train.